Good morning, children. Hope you are all well. Today we are going to start the chapter State Government. This is from the civics part of your book. Now in this chapter we are going to discuss the role of the government, the functions it delivers for the well-being of the inhabitants of a particular state. Here we will know how the state government is formed, how the state legislature learns, and how the chief minister, governor function for the well-being of the people of the state. So let us start the chapter. The state government. Now, for our convenience of study, we have divided the chapter into two topics. The first topic is understanding the formation of state legislature. So let us start discussing about it. First, children, make a correction. Here in the first line you see it. In your book it is written 29 states and 7 union territories. But children, now you will make 28 states and 8 union territories. You know well, in 2019 Ladakh was also included in the union territories, isn't it? The government is formed in every state for the purpose of governing the people of the state. So, what is the role of government? The role of state government is to run the government for the well-being of the people of the state. The government of the state is responsible to ensure good governance of the people of the state. They have many legislative, executive and administrative responsibilities. Let us now understand the various stages of forming a government and then the role and responsibility of the members of the government. So now we will study the role and responsibility of the government towards the people of its state. Constituencies. What do you mean by constituencies? Now see, states are very big. So for the purpose of convenience during elections and other, the states are divided into small areas called constituencies, which is a specified area covering one or more districts. As we are a democratic country, the people of each constituency elect their representatives. People of different political parties are nominated as candidates. Now listen, children, we have heard often that democracy is the government of the people, for the people and by the people. In this paragraph, we come to know why democracy is the government by the people, because we have the power in our hands to select our own candidate through the process of election. So, but three important things are to be noted: that the candidate should be of at least 25 years of age, he or she should be the citizen of India, and as well as a resident of that particular state. People from each constituency thus elect their own leader who represent them in the state government. Elections for the state government. The government announces the date for holding the elections. The nominated leaders go around to tell people about their views on governance and the policies they support. This is known as canvassing. Now, all the candidates who are standing for elections, they have some list of works they will do if they come in the government. This is called the manifesto. And they go around to tell the people about what they are going to do if they come in power. This is called canvassing. Now children, you have seen in the book I have marked some lines with green color. These are the key lines, the most important lines. Please do mark it. Now children, elections are held on specified date and people go out to vote for their selected candidate. The results are declared after counting of votes, which decides who has been elected from the particular constituency. What we come to know, that after the canvassing, elections are held on a particular date, people choose their leaders, they vote, and then what happens? Counting is done, and one who gets the maximum vote wins. So from one constituency, one leader is elected. Now children, state legislature. This is very important because we will come to know what forms the state legislature. That means who are the people forming the state government. The state legislature consists of the governor and one or two houses. That means some states have two houses, lower house or legislative assembly Vidhan Sabha and upper house or legislative council Vidhan Parishad. And some states have one house only. If the state has one house, it is known as unicameral, whereas bicameral states have two houses. So if a state has only one house, it is called unicameral, and if they have two houses, they are called bicameral. The governor is the constitutional head of the state. That means the governor, according to the constitution, is the head of the state legislature. He or she is appointed by the president of the country and holds office at the pleasure of the president. To be nominated as governor, a person has to be a citizen of India and must be above the age of 35. So, there are some norms to be the governor. First, the governor is chosen by the president and office is also given by the president only. And the governor should be the citizen of India, should be above the age of 35. He or she should not be the member of either house of the parliament or a state legislature. That means the governor is totally above politics. She cannot hold any office of profit. He or she cannot serve any office also. The powers of the governor are as follows. So children, I have marked this important and you will also follow it thoroughly. What is the first power? Executive power of the state is with the governor, who exercises it either directly or through the chief minister. That means all the offices that are running in the state are under the governor, and his power is exercised either directly or through the chief minister. The governor appoints the chief minister and the other members of council of ministers on the advice of chief minister. So when the elections are over and the chief minister and other ministers are to take the oath, it is the governor who helps them. He or she also appoints and advocates general, the other officers of the state. All the senior officers are also appointed by the governor. Even every bill passed by the legislature has to be approved by the governor before becoming law. This is the most important. He or she addresses the legislature and has the right to dissolve it. That means governor addresses the legislature and can even dissolve it. That the government which is running can be dissolved by only the governor. Member of Legislative Assembly. In short, we say MLA. Who are the members of Legislative Assembly? You remember I talked about election from the constituencies. The elected representative of the people from a constituency becomes a member of the state legislative assembly for 5 years. So what is the term period? The term period is 5 years. Thus you would understand that there would be a number of MLAs, each representing a constituency of the state. The MLA is also a member of the political party. The party having the majority of MLAs form the government of the state. In case a single party does not have clear majority, then two or more parties join together to form a government which is called coalition government. Those MLAs who do not belong or support the majority party are known as opposition. This is very important. Opposition also has a very strong role in the parliament or legislative assembly. They attend meetings in the legislative assembly and give their critical views on bills, laws being discussed and passed in the assembly. They always keep a track on the government, that the government is not turning tyrannical. The chief minister. The leader of the majority party is invited by the governor of the state to become the chief minister. This we have read just now in the powers of governor. Once the chief minister is appointed, he or she state legislative council of ministers in case. So the after the chief minister is chosen by the governor and given the oath, the Chief Minister then appoints the State Legislative Council of Ministers. In case no political party has gained absolute majority, the governor can invite one member who, in her opinion, can command a majority through collation. So governor, here also we see he has an absolute power here, because if no party is gaining absolute majority, the governor can invite one member who, in his or her opinion, can command a majority through collation. Now, powers of the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister is the real executive authority. Governor is the constitutional executive authority. Chief Minister is the real executive authority in the state administration. The Chief Minister heads the Council of Ministers and allocates portfolios for departments to them. That means the Chief Minister will decide which minister, who will be the minister and which department he has to take over. The ministers are answerable for the performance of the departments under their charge and to make sure that the policies are implemented properly. So, the Chief Minister is responsible for all his Council of Ministers. He also has certain powers, and I have marked them important. You will go through it. The CM convenes and presides over cabinet meetings and exercises general supervision and control over all the ministers. So, what the CM does? He presides over all the meetings of his cabinet, and he also supervises the work of his ministers. The CM is the main link between the governor and the state cabinet. This is very important. He is the person who is linking the total government with the governor. If the CM is not happy with the minister, he can ask the minister to resign, or he can drop him for the council by reshuffling it. CM has maximum power. As the presiding officer of the Council of Ministers, the Chief Minister greatly influences its deliberations and decisions. The CM ensures that the Council works as a team. So, as a presiding officer, the CM has also to maintain all his ministers. Okay, the decisions and everything are to be seen by the CM. The CM can recommend the dissolution of the State Legislative Assembly even before the expiry of its term. It is the responsibility of the Chief Minister to communicate to the Governor the decisions of the Council of Ministers. So, the CM has also the power to dissolve the State Legislative Assembly. And each and every decision is to be discussed with the Governor about the Council of Ministers and the departments by the CM. All important announcements on behalf of the government are made by the Chief Minister in the Assembly. The Chief Minister takes decision so as to when a particular bill is to be introduced in the Assembly. That means the Chief Minister is all-rounder. He is in charge of all the departments of the state. If the Chief Minister resigns, the entire Council of Ministers have to resign. Now, collective responsibility. One thing I told you again and again, that the Chief Minister is responsible for the entire Council of Ministers. So, the Council of Ministers are individually as well as collectively responsible for the conduction of the Assembly. If a particular minister loses the confidence of the Assembly, all the ministers have to resign. Thus, the Council of Ministers are collectively responsible to the Legislative Assembly. The legislature exercises control over the ministers by asking questions and passing resolutions, etc. That means the state legislative is the responsibility of the Council of Ministers, which is supervised by the Chief Minister in accordance with the governance, and thus they provide the developmental works for the well-being of the states. So here we end our first topic. Hope you all have understood. Thank you.